Hospitals across the country dealing with an influx of coronavirus patients. Two healthcare professionals share what it's like on the front lines of this pandemic.
Hello, my name is Jeremy Rose. I'm an ER doctor at Mount Sinai Beth Israel in Manhattan.
Tomorrow I'm going to go work on the COVID unit.
It's 5 a.m. I'm in the middle of my overnight shift, and we've just intubated a patient who's in his mid-50s. He's going to the ICU. And one of the really bizarre and unnerving things about this illness is that it makes you alone.
Everyone describes all the critical care units as war zones because that's what it looks like. No one looks like they're in their usual scrubs with all the things that they're trying to wear to attempt to protect themselves.
We cannot have visitors in the hospital because they may be infected as well. And so tonight, when I intubated this man, he had no family with him. He's alone. And when he goes to the ICU, he will be alone. And if he dies, he may very well die alone.
I bumped into one of my attendings and some of my colleagues, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm off." Yes, I'm off. And they were like, "Well, you see that patient needs somebody to care for them tomorrow. They're going to have, CVHD, and they have all the things going wrong, multi-system organ failure, lungs failing, heart failing. I don't even know what else is failing on this person, but God bless them." And I decided that I would stay.
During this time, which is unfortunately a terrible time, where people are dying and where people are getting very sick, I want you to know that inside the hospital, we are pulling together like we have never pulled together before. And I look around at my nursing colleagues, I look around at everybody in the hospital doing every job, and I can't help thinking to myself that maybe now is our moment. Now is our moment to rise above this terrible disaster. And what I would say to you is if we pull together like we have pulled together in the hospital, we can and we will rise above this.
It's going to be a challenge. These poor people are so amazingly ill. This virus, this tiny virus, is literally ominous. It's crazy. So we'll see what tomorrow holds.
Amazon workers at a New York City warehouse walked off the job today. They're protesting how the company's handled the coronavirus outbreak. They say the safety protocols in place aren't enough to protect them. NBC News business and tech correspondent Jolene Kent joins me now. And Joe, great to have you with us. What do these Amazon workers want? What are they asking for today?
They say that they're asking for the basics. They know that one person has tested positive for COVID-19, so they believe that there are other cases, and they don't believe they have enough personal protective equipment. And we're talking about the masks and the gloves that they want. There's also been discussion of social distancing and whether or not the adequate steps have been taken on that front. So that's the Staten Island case. We're also hearing of a new petition that's being circulated here in Southern California in the Inland Empire at some of the fulfillment centers here. You may not know this, but this area of Southern California has the largest concentration of Amazon fulfillment center, those warehouses, where all of the orders are processed. So there are similar grievances and concerns here on the ground. But I do want to point out that Amazon did respond, and they told us that they believe that these accusations are unfounded. They call their employees heroes fighting for their communities, and they do believe they're providing enough gear.
Joe, we know Amazon isn't the only company that's facing some backlash right now. Instacart employees planned an emergency walk-off today also. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I just got off the phone with one of the organizers, an Instacart shopper who's been shopping for Instacart for about 5 years. Their concern is also their own health. As they go into these grocery stores, what is it like to go in? How crowded it is? They're not being provided the sanitizer and the hazard pay and the sick pay that they believe they deserve as they serve on the front lines. As so many people are homebound and unable to do groceries, of course, Instacart is getting a huge surge in orders, the same way Amazon has as well. So Instacart, since we started reporting on this last week, they did say they will be providing a higher default level for tips and some bonus pay. And then after increased pressure over the weekend, they said they're sourcing and getting their own hand sanitizer out to their shoppers. But the Instacart shopper that I spoke to in Chicago, Matthew Tellis, he says that, look, this is just not enough. It's part of a larger systemic problem of having these workers out during coronavirus, risking their lives, trying to deliver what basics so many people need.
Yeah, Joe, they've just been doing incredible work, getting folks the things that they need, putting their own lives in danger to make sure that people have supplies, food, all the things they need in their homes during this crazy time. We are so grateful for all of the work that they are doing, and thankful to you so much for your reporting today.
Sure.
New York City hospitals and funeral homes just overwhelmed with coronavirus cases. Sky News correspondent Cordelia Lynch spoke to people who have lost members of their family and to those organizing their burials.
I'll get that. Neufeld Funeral Home?
Gerard Neufeld Funeral Home is a family-run business.
Yes, we're open. How can I help you?
And it's overwhelmed. The bodies of COVID-19 victims
Small groups, yes.
keep coming.
If you just give me a call to let me know when you're coming, because we are a little busy and I want to make sure somebody is here to sit down and speak with you properly.
The caskets are closed, the chairs largely bereft of mourners, but the work doesn't stop.
Demand is just, unfortunately, a lot of deaths all at the same time. So we're trying to manage services for all the families in a proper way, whatever they want to do. So, and it's just a lot of families all at the same time. So we're trying to fit in schedules, trying to keep track of who's, which day, which family's going to go, and go from there.
Just down the road is Elmhurst Hospital, the centre of the outbreak, where doctors say the situation is apocalyptic.
Crazy. I mean, people are unfortunately passing away in big numbers. And because they live in this area and I'm the only funeral home left in this area, they're coming to me. So I'm trying to accommodate them best I can. So.
And every day, more and more bodies come.
Yes, yes. I mean, we left the office last night, and I think we had about 12 services or so scheduled. And shortly after I left the office, within 2 hours, I had 3 more services. And then this morning, as soon as we came in, we put on 3 or 4 more services. So that's what's happening. And it's only 12 o'clock.
Robert Lugo has just lost his grandmother, Anna. Isolated in her suffering, her family now robbed of the chance to grieve together.
But my grandmother died alone. That was not my grandma. She died alone. We didn't even get to say bye to her. And I understand that's part of the death process. But she was there. She was in the hospital. She was feet away. We couldn't even see her. We couldn't talk to her. We couldn't even give her that boost of morale to say, hey, you're going to come out of this. Or we need you to come out of this. There was nothing.
What would you say to those people who don't think coronavirus is a serious threat?
If you don't think that it's a serious threat, here I am. I lost my grandmother in the midst of less than a week.
Her family had just celebrated her 80th birthday. They call her the glue. Now they too are sick.
Because she was exposed to the virus, they also became exposed to the virus. And half of our family members right now are in quarantine because they tested positive.
With collective mourning forbidden and traditional rituals removed, death is marked by a drive-through.
The crematories really aren't letting anybody in. The cemeteries are limiting it for the most part to people staying in their cars and just watching the burial from the graveside.
Joe now negotiates at the gates, carrying candles for the families that can't.
Sometimes when it's so brief, it almost leaves them still feeling hollow, like, what just happened. They don't have enough time to process it. And It's heartbreaking. It's really sad.
Joe and his father are vulnerable handling infected bodies, but they keep going, determined to offer dignity to those who left this world without a hand to hold.